everybody. I'm Mary Beth Smith, and I'm Director of Marketing and Communications at San Francisco Ballet, where I just finished my 5th season. Remember this? I know for many of you out there, this was the beginning of a lot of difficult years. Some of you may still be dealing with the lingering effects of the financial crisis. At San Francisco Ballet, the downturn hit us when we were in the midst of celebrating our 75th anniversary. And our success over the course of 2008-9 meant that we didn't feel the full impact of the recession on our organization until 2011-12. But when it hit us hard. And while it was scary at the time, what happened next turned out to be the beginning of an extraordinary transformation at San Francisco Ballet. I'm really excited to share that story with you today. This is the story of how San Francisco Ballet has become as strong, flexible, and innovative behind the scenes as we are on stage. Now, San Francisco Ballet has a reputation as one of the world's most forward-thinking and innovative ballet companies. Choreographers love to work here because Artistic Director Helgi Thomason cultivates an atmosphere of creativity, one that supports big thinking and risk-taking. On the business side of things, in 2012, we were doing things the way we'd always done them, and to be fair, the way we'd always done them, it always worked, but not now. Not in this new environment. We needed new ideas, we needed to change, but we weren't sure how. Some of us felt across-the-board budget cuts were necessary, but others of us felt strongly that there was another way, a smarter way, to address our financial challenges. One of our trustees introduced us to consultant Sherry Nemeth. Now, Sherry has spent her career working with companies who've been acquired by other companies. Her job is to quickly improve their ROI by applying something she calls strategic alignment. Now, this practice also involves something called lean operations, which I'll get to in a minute. And that's a system for making businesses more efficient. Now, many of us had questions. What could we possibly learn from a consultant who specialized in corporate turnarounds? Aren't arts organizations fundamentally different from other kinds of businesses? And how can you make an artistic process more efficient? So over the course of 2 days in 2013, with our consultant at the helm, we mapped out our future. Strategic alignment is a 3-part program, which starts with a big, bold, game-changing plan. The next step is something we call a laser focus on execution. Sherry provided us with a set of tools to make sure that we were monitoring our progress on a regular basis. And the third part of the program is a focus on making the organization as efficient as possible by implementing lean operations. Again, strategic alignment starts with a big, bold, game-changing plan. Now, the first step in this process was making sure that we were all aligned in our vision for the future. So we started by having our leadership lay out their visions, and not just our artistic leadership, but our business leadership as well. The next step was making sure that all those visions were in alignment. We realized then that we couldn't achieve our artistic vision without getting our financial house in order, so that became the point around which our plan took shape. Then we started planning. We learned that we can strengthen our ability to execute by selecting only a vital few breakthrough objectives that will have a significant impact on the bottom line. The key here is not to try and do everything, just to pick the 3 or 4 things that will really make an impact on your organization and make sure everybody agrees that these are the goals that are going to be the priorities. Now, these objectives should be so big and so aggressive that you have no idea how you're going to get to them. And this is a really important concept. These seemingly impossible goals set the stage for out-of-the-box thinking. In risk-averse organizations, we sometimes set goals that are easy to achieve in order to avoid the appearance of failure. But when we do that, we don't challenge ourselves to find out what's possible. We don't know what we're actually capable of until we try. So we set our overarching goal during day 1 of our session to achieve artistic flexibility through financial strength. The practical objective, to generate $5.6 million in sustainable incremental revenue or cost reductions within 3 years. Now, this was going to allow us to get to full accrual break-even and ensure that we were beginning to build reserves for things like facility maintenance, touring, and making sure that we had money in the bank to try new things. In strategic alignment, strategies must result in a departure from business as usual. In other words, they must be new and innovative ideas that have the possibility of transforming your organization. The strategic alignment strategies must require cross-functional collaboration. That way you know you're getting to some big, bold ideas. Now, if you find out that a strategy can be implemented by one person or one department, well, we call that a just do it, a JDI, and that's the idea, just get it done. In the world of strategic alignment, all strategies must result in sustainable increases in revenue or cost reductions. They can't be one-offs. These strategies are simply going to become the way you do business moving forward. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been a part of planning processes that took months. None of us could really believe that at the end of 2.5 days, we had a strategic plan that would put us on the path to organizational transformation. And more than a few of us were skeptical about the promise of strategic alignment. But Sherry was persuasive, and we moved forward with a core group of champions. Now, the second component of strategic alignment is what we call a laser focus on execution. So we established a steering committee made up of board and staff members who would meet monthly to review our progress against our goals. I love this graphic that Sherry shared with us. As you can see, almost all organizations have a vision. Most have a plan. I bet you do. About half of all organizations accomplish some of what they've laid out in those plans, but only 1/3 of companies achieve any sort of significant success. So what makes us so sure that strategic alignment will succeed where our other planned processes have failed? Because we have adopted a set of tools to help us monitor our success on a monthly basis. This is a document that we lovingly refer to as the bowling chart. Now, each strategy has an owner, and that owner pulls together a cross-departmental team, and they create a step-by-step action plan. Then they project out their revenue or cost savings month by month at the beginning of the year, and then every month, like clockwork, we report out our results. If a strategy is at or above its monthly projection, it's green. If it's less than 5% under, it becomes yellow, and if it's more than 5% under, it becomes red. Now, the steering committee focuses every month only on the reds and yellows, and it's the job of the steering committee to help the owner of a strategy get the initiative back on track. Now, this is not an easy process when you own a strategy that is not meeting projection, believe me, I know. It's hard not to take failure personally, but the idea here is that we're sharing responsibility for the outcome of every strategy. We are embracing a fail-forward mentality and keeping our eye on the prize. So drilling in on one of our strategies, you can see how we track the success of our young audience development program called The List. Notice that we didn't just track revenue, but we also tracked some additional metrics that we knew would drive our success. We tracked the number of young adults who registered for the program, and we tracked the percentage of those who were new to San Francisco Ballet when they joined. So one of the reasons I think that organizations fail to innovate is lack of bandwidth to take on new projects. So how do we create the time and space to undertake bold new ideas? This practice, I think, provides at least a part of the answer. It's something called lean operations, or lean ops for short. We have Toyota to thank for the concept of lean thinking. In the 1970s, they revolutionized the automobile manufacturing process by re-engineering their assembly lines to be as efficient as they possibly could be. Their goal? Absolutely no wasted effort. So in the years since, lean operations programs have been adopted by a wide range of industries, including hospitals and other kinds of service organizations. So why not the arts? I mean, we may not be so different from other kinds of organizations after all. We produce a product, right? Our performances, our exhibitions, our education programs, and customers buy those products, right? So here's the definition of lean ops. Note the goal isn't simply to make a process more efficient. It's also about delivering the highest quality products and services to our customers. And the result? We can do more with more. Lean sounds like less, but it's not about cutting, it's about optimizing. And we want to be doing only the things that actually add value, that make our products better. We want to get out from under the feeling that there aren't enough hours in the day because we're spending most of our time on mundane, frustrating tasks, to a place where our time and energy can be spent thinking strategically and collaborating with others to achieve our big, bold vision. Any process can be optimized. How do you know if a process should be optimized? Look for processes that people find frustrating, and you'll find a bunch of them. One of ours was photo approvals. Now, in the ballet world, we take photo selection really seriously because photos are such an important calling card for our company. And our photographer takes literally hundreds of photos of every ballet, and they have to be approved by our artistic director and by the dancers in the photos. It was taking months to get photos through the approvals process, and marketing staff were pulling out their hair because they never had the photos they needed when they needed them. Now, during a process improvement, you bring together every person who plays a role in that process, and you map it out step by step, task by task, on Post-it notes on a wall. When you are done, you can clearly see where the problems are. Once you've mapped the current state, the team begins to problem solve until they can map out an ideal future state. Here's the current state map of photo approvals, fully 67 separate steps. In the ideal future state, we reduced the number of steps by almost half to 36. We also reduced lead time. That's the amount of time it takes for a photo once it's taken to enter the approvals process, by more than a month. And we reduced cycle time, the time it takes for a photo to complete the process and become approved and ready to use, by almost 2 days. We also reduced the number of staffers involved in the process from 6 to 4. Now those 2 staffers have more time on their hands to do other things. For instance, our staffer, whose job it is to oversee the approvals process and to keep a working archive of our photos, has now had some of his time freed up. He's now spending 15% of his time supporting graphic design and doing projects that we would have outsourced to a freelancer, saving us money. And now that we know lean operations is about making a process more efficient without sacrificing quality, we feel more confident about applying what we've learned to our artistic and our production processes. We began that work in earnest just this past year by focusing on how we schedule our stage rehearsals, and we're already seeing really big early wins. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about how we rolled the initiative out to staff. And we knew at the outset that strategic alignment meant major change for our organization, and that an internal communication strategy was going to be a critical part of the program. So we branded the initiative, we created an internal communications team, and we launched an employee rewards program. The result? We now have a common language and a mandate around which to rally. Staff feel like we're all on the same page, and they know how they're contributing to our success. This is the Strategic Alignment War Room. It's really just our 3rd floor conference room. We keep our goals and our breakthrough objectives front and center. We post the monthly bowling chart, staff stories, and the staff spotlight of the month. Each month, staff from throughout the organization are invited to nominate a fellow staffer for our Raising the Bar Award. Anyone can make a significant contribution to strategic alignment. This is one of our winners, our former receptionist, now our executive assistant, who streamlined our facility rentals application process and worked with marketing to make rentals more visible on the website. Her achievement, a $20,000 increase in rental revenue. In order to make everyone on staff feel like they're invested in our success, we rolled out a new program this past year that we call the Lean Ops 15. And staff are encouraged to spend 15 minutes each week doing something that will make them more efficient. They're asked to track their 15-minute activities, and they get points for doing it consistently, which they can trade in for prizes. These are the kind of things that staff are doing with their 15 minutes each week. We are working to ensure that all of our processes are documented so that when we have staff turnover, a new employee can quickly get up to speed. And we have come to love checklists. They help us accomplish routine processes more quickly and efficiently. And we're always encouraged to use our 15 minutes to get organized so we can find things more easily and maintain our focus on the more important work. The Lean Ops 15 is truly something anyone can do, either individually or as a department. You'll be amazed how much easier your work life can be when you give yourself permission to do these kinds of things. We've learned a lot over the last 3 years. As staff began to see the payoff in becoming more efficient, more and more of them began climbing on the bandwagon. And while I can't say that we're any less busy than we were in the past, we're focused on work that matters, and staff are seeing the results, which has really boosted morale. We have often been surprised by our results. Some things we were sure would work didn't. Others that some felt didn't have merit have taken on a life of their own. We now know that success comes when we work the process, that we should never stop evolving, and that strategic alignment is a way of life for us here at San Francisco Ballet. So, as we near the end of this fiscal year, we project that we will have achieved something north of $4.1 million on our $5.6 million goal. And we've done it by expanding our audience, creating new revenue streams, and streamlining our operations. We're now a more nimble organization for realizing that we have no lack of ideas for solving our problems. We're no longer stuck in believing that we can't change without losing our identity, our artistic quality, or our focus on our mission. And we have shifted our culture from one that avoids the appearance of failure to one that celebrates what we call near wins. I highly recommend this TED Talk by art historian and critic Sarah Lewis. In 2013, none of us could imagine how we'd get to that $5.6 million goal, and we didn't quite get there, but we got closer than we ever dreamed possible. And now that we folded the artistic and production processes into the process, our ultimate success is within sight. More importantly, we transformed our institution into one that thinks bigger, that is more flexible and innovative, an institution that has developed the skills, the discipline, and the appetite for risk that will allow us to survive and thrive in our increasingly fast-paced and uncertain world. Thank you.